As Evan was the Grand High Pair's heir, master vampires had come from far and wide to attend. The grand garden was decorated beautifully, with butterfly lights, torches, and candles. Many tables circled the man-made dance floor, which was currently far from empty. Most of the dancers were vampires, but a few were intoxicated humans. Feeding from them was the only way our kind could get drunk, and many vampires were blitzed at this point. And since such celebrations could go on past dawn, most would be absolutely hammered when the after-party came to an end. It wasn't unusual for some to crash on the beach and sleep the day away after such events. Contrary to popular belief, sunlight didn't hurt us. I was ever so slightly on the tipsy side, but I hadn't fed from more than one drunken human tonight, mostly because I was still bloated from the binding feast. Vampires didn't need solid food to survive, but we certainly indulged. "Evan's looking mighty fine in that tux," Ava commented. She slid me a mischievous look before tipping her chin toward a particular cluster of guys. "Max is looking rather dashing, too." I ignored the flutter in my stomach. It didn't matter what the male in question was wearing. He always looked like he just stepped right out of a Sexiest Men Alive article. Long and lean and muscled, Max Kincaid was all kinds of delicious. His watchful eyes made me think of a mountain lake, cool, calm, startlingly blue. His mouth was nothing short of carnal. It could curve into a warm, sexy-as-shit smile just as easily as a cruel, you're-so-fucking-dead grin. He'd recently traded his military haircut for a classic short back and sides, and damn if I didn't have the occasional urge to run my fingers through the rich brown strands he'd allowed to grow. I also wouldn't mind doing a personal inspection of his rock-hard abs, or maybe giving that epic ass of his a little squeeze. At Ava's expectant look, I sniffed and said, "He scrubs up well." She gave me a look that said she was not buying my apparent disinterest, and so she shouldn't. It wasn't my fault that he was so alarmingly seductive. He possessed the kind of appeal that any woman would be susceptible to, especially with that air of complete control that held just a hint of wildness. It was totally bad boy. More, he walked with the smooth stride and undauntable composure of any apex predator, like a jungle cat prowling through the underbrush. My hormones honestly didn't know what to do with themselves around him. "He's not sleeping with Ursula anymore," said Ava. Yes, I'd heard. The female had apparently thought he intended to commit to her. It seemed that she was wrong, and I'd be lying if I said a part of me wasn't relieved about it, which was a little unfair of me, but there was no changing it. Ooh, are we pretending you're totally unaffected by the news and, more, that you don't want to jump his bones? Yes, that's exactly what we're doing. So glad you're on board. She sighed. Fine, just know you're not fooling me. I see how much you like him, and I'm thinking it's a two-way street. Okay, now she was just confusing me. Perhaps you haven't noticed that he actively avoids me? Ava's brow creased. No, I have. While he never really sought you out in the past, he also never went out of his way to not be around you until recently. There's this weird, thick, crackly tension between you now. There was. It felt unstable and precarious and filled with things left unsaid. I had the feeling that was why Sam and Jared, a couple who were not only the Grand High Pair, but also the commanders of our squads, had forced Max and me to train together several times. They were probably worried that the aforementioned tension would somehow translate into something bad on a battlefield. "I thought you guys had a disagreement or something," Ava added. "That would require us to actually talk to each other, and we don't do that outside of Legion situations. He might occasionally say hi to me in passing, but I usually just get a nod or half-smile. He was uber social with everyone else, though. All charm and confidence. Max was the kind of guy who could walk into a room and talk to anyone about anything. He had a way of sucking people in, putting them at ease, and making them feel good about themselves. He's not rude to me," I went on. "Just indifferent," which kind of hurt. "I'm not so sure he is truly indifferent to you. Give me one good reason why he'd fake aloofness towards me. He doesn't play mind games with women. If he's interested in a woman, he has no problems letting her know. But he's never once..."